Hey guys, it's Tessa. So, firstly, new hair. Cute. I know. It's a little crazy at the moment because it's not styled, but anyway, cut all my hair off because it's supposed to be hot here soon. I don't want to deal with that. Okay? But really, the main reason we're all here, as you can also see behind me, we have a lot less yarn than we did a few months ago. So, I have been sort of keeping track of all of my yarn here in my little knitting book. Firstly, I should state for the record, we're gonna have a slight delay and some work here in the next month or so. I have in fact injured my hands, and I'm not allowed to knit for the next 3 weeks. I'm dying. Okay, it's quite literally losing my fucking mind about it, but it's fine. It just has to be fine. Okay. And it is. Alright, don't remind me of it. But anyway, for the stash busting, for the start of the year, I really wasn't making much progress, unfortunately. And that was really disheartening to see, because I really went into this year thinking I would do really well at getting through my stash because of how much knitting and crocheting I did last year, especially for my business. And all of that. Sorry, it's like suddenly very warm in here. And how I did with my business and all of that last year, all the items I made and everything else, all the projects I made for myself, even things I didn't end up showing in my everything I made video. Like I did a lot. And I was like, oh, this year I'm gonna do just as great, if not better, right? Wrong. First start of this year, the start of every year is always a little bit. Pause. The king has to get his place made, okay? We gotta wait for him. Alright, Gibby. Alright. So, start of this year, I was not doing great mentally, just because the end/start of the year is always a little bit rough for me. For a lot of reasons, but mostly just because this whole like October to like February-ish is really hard on me. I've talked about it a little bit in other videos. I had kind of a major life event happen in October in 2017 that like basically fundamentally changed me as a person, which that's kind of like the really dumbed down version of what happened. Check out my weight loss video, the weight loss update video. I don't remember what video it's a part of, but I'll pin it up here on whichever side. But long story short, a really traumatic and major life event occurred in 2017 for me, right at the end of October. So October through February is really hard on me because of the whole like family aspect of things. So the start of this year didn't start off great, but to make some notes, okay, some stash notes, we finished our Daft Days cardigan. That's the orange and brown one I was working on. I finished the cardigan I was just wearing as well. I finished both of those technically in 2025, but I'm adding them because I believe I started tallying all of my yarn at early December. So those yarns were already in the counts, already in the totals. I've now removed them for the sake of this. Also finished the Alex / Sophie Hood Frankenstein I made. If I haven't posted that video yet, I'll end up pinning this video in it, or I'll pin that video in this one. If I've already posted that video, which I think I have, I'll tag it as well. I also finished the Ripple bralette. That's that blue top you guys have been seeing me wear in a lot of clips and a lot of videos. I finished that, and then the only other project so far that I have finished this year is my ranunculus, and overall very slow production for me. Let me check here. I believe my last project completed was in February, which hurts because it's now May. I was originally planning to do this video in March, and I was going to do it quarterly for you guys, but life has happened. My injury with my hands has happened. Not really getting through my stash really at all happened. So I didn't really feel like it was going to be smart to do it then, because there wouldn't be any real outcome. But we started January with 464 50-gram balls of yarn. If you'd like to know how much that is in pounds of yarn, let me convert that real quick. I will also say that is not including any of the blanket yarn I had that was in like one of these two cubbies. That did not include that. That was probably like another 5 to 10 pounds, if I'm being like legitimately another, like I'll say 5 pounds to be generous. I started this year at a total of, including that grace amount, about 56 pounds of yarn, which is crazy. First of all, that is crazy. And then I went down to, then I dropped about a pound of yarn. As you probably remember, I converted all of these measurements into 50-gram balls of yarn because it's a little bit easier to manage. So I started this year with 464 50-gram balls of yarn, which is roughly 51 pounds, but including the extra 5 for the blanket yarn, which I think it's closer to 10, honestly, because I've shipped out some of that yarn. But I'll say 5 for now, so 56 pounds. From January to the end of, or from January to February, I dropped about 7 balls of 50-gram balls of yarn, so dropping about a pound of the yarn. In February, by the end of February, I had dropped several, okay? Several. I don't even know what happened in February. We did have an unfortunate uptick at the same time, which is a little crazy, to be honest. I managed to lose 78 50-gram balls of yarn, which totals out to about 8 pounds of yarn. Okay, following me still? By the end of February, we had gone through about 8 pounds of yarn. This is going to be including some projects I was working on for my shop. I had a couple cardigans I was finishing, and none of that yarn had been removed from the counts yet. I had a time shawl that I was working on that, again, counts had not been removed from the stash yet. I finished both of those. Those aren't included in my little book here. This is because this book's for personal items more than anything else. So we did drop by about 8 pounds by the end of February. At the end of April, really, or by early mid-April, we had some chaos occur. Okay, I managed to go to 379 50-gram balls of yarn, which, huge jump. We did end of February, we ended with 457, but as of April 11th, we dropped down to 379. That was the first order I shipped to my cousin up in Washington. That was a 20-pound box. I'm not even kidding, okay? It cost me $60 to ship it to Washington. It was a little insane, I won't lie. But it was about 20 pounds. That included a bunch of that blanket yarn. The other small portion of blanket yarn is going to my friend. She just needs to pick it up still. And that leads us to yesterday in May. I will also note in April, it probably would have been more as well, but I found some yarn I hadn't accounted for at the time, so I had to add that in, and then the numbers just got skewed a little bit. But as of yesterday, May 4th, we are down to 308 50-gram balls of yarn, which equals out to about 33 pounds of yarn, which is a huge move, okay? That means I've roughly gone through, I've roughly gone through about 23 pounds of yarn, and that's with giving a bunch of it away. I also gave another like 10-pound box, I think, roughly, to another friend of mine. They picked that up yesterday. So I got rid of a bunch of it. I got rid of basically everything I wasn't planning on using anytime soon, or that I didn't think I would be willing or interested in using anytime soon. I will also say middle cubby is a bunch of scrap yarn, so that's not even technically counted in our counts. But on my wall here, the only cubbies with yarn in them are these top 3. Of course, those are my special yarns. And now this one on the far end here counts as my specials. This is scrap yarn, so it doesn't count in our totals. We have our green, our blue, our brown, orange, yellows, our gray scale, so black and white. You can't even see this cubby. Hey. And then we have our purples. And then we have a miscellaneous, like, what's it called? Specialty yarns. So things like fur yarn, this really thick, bulky yarn I have, some old Big Twist Supernova. Like, it's that yarn. It's my specialty that I don't really have another home for at the moment, or any plans for at the moment. But I still want to keep it because I think I could make good use out of it. But that is where we're at. We're down to 308. So if you weren't following all of the math I was doing, because, you know, big brain over here, I managed to get rid of or use 156 50-gram balls of yarn, which this is a great step forward. I'm hoping after my injury, my hands heal, then I can, again, continue to make some progress forward. I'll also give you a little bit of a sneak peek, not really a fake sneak peek. My birthday cardigan, completely different than what I originally had planned, to the point where I don't even own the mohair anymore. Okay, that was one of the chunks of yarn I ended up giving away to somebody. So at this point, I'm just ready to lose some yarn, all right? But that is the update for that. I figure I'll also throw in another fun update here for us. I so far have lost 42 pounds since November 20th, which feels surreal to say. It feels fake. It feels like a lie, but I'm very proud of myself. This is something I've been trying to do for a very long time. I've lost about 40 pounds. I have about 95-ish left to lose, which I'm so excited for. Seeing these results, feeling better, physically feeling better, physically feeling like I look better, is a huge motivator for me. And it's so nice to see all of this work I'm putting in actually come to fruition, and that it's not, you know, all for nothing. I've also had some health issues recently. That was another reason why I kind of took a break as well. This is gonna be a little mini life update, all right? I've been having some health issues recently. Part of it was my hands. Another part of it was I was getting really dizzy recently. Back in June of 2025, I ended up passing out once, like fully passed out, unconscious for a few seconds. Luckily, my husband was there, like right there with me to essentially wake me back up. But that was really scary for anyone, but it was really scary for somebody like me who's afraid of a lot of medical stuff. But I did the smartest thing I could, and I went and saw my doctor. We currently think, or we thought up until a couple days ago, that I potentially was having, either I was dehydrated or potentially having some sort of issues relative to losing all this weight really fast. It looks like so far, based on my lab results so far, that I'm extremely iron deficient, to the point where it's mildly concerning. Through my health insurance people, when you look through your like lab results, or the hospital I go to, when you look through your lab results, it shows you like a range of like, this is the range of good, this is the range of too low, this is the range of too high, right? I think a lot of places do this. Instead of just being in like the low range of the good, I'm at like the middle range of the too low. So it's exponentially too low. So I'm gonna start taking iron supplements, I think, and then another one of my test results came back a little bit low. It's my hemoglobin. However, apparently those are directly correlated, so that's fun. I have a couple more tests I'm still waiting for, but I'm assuming, I'm not trying to, but I'm assuming we're relatively going to be in a fine point. Again, I'm feeling a lot better lately, so I'm not as concerned as I was. I haven't passed out since that one time in June. I've gotten still pretty dizzy a couple times recently, but I'm fine. And nothing, you know, bad's happened from it. I've done everything the doctor has told me to do to make sure I'm okay, and I have been. As for my hands, I basically gave myself carpal tunnel from knitting and crocheting too much, and I'm on a band for about 3 weeks and wearing braces every night and while I'm working, to see if that helps. It should, as long as I continue to not knit and not crochet for that full period, which is gonna be tricky, I might say, but that is it. That is my life / health / weight / stash update. If you want more videos like this or more little life updates, leave a comment below and let me know. I would be so happy to yap about my life. I'm seeing a lot of positive for myself in 2026, which is exciting and scary at the same time, but I'm really interested to see how this year plays out. But like I said, that's gonna be it for this video. If you have any questions, comments, feedback below, let me know. If you want to see more of me, subscribe, and if you want, I don't know, to yap, send me a message on Instagram or follow me on Instagram and you'll see a little bit more of what I got going on. All right, bye.